Hi, this is Sandy, and I wanted to show you 2 ways that I make shakers. I use this shape die that I got as a gift from scrapbook.com when I bought some other things from them. And this is called the Thank You Shaker Tag. So I cut out the back piece out of this die right here. Sorry, my hand was in the way. And then I cut out the front piece out of this one right here. And then they also have some other dies that you can use to make the word thank you with the backing, butterfly with the backing, hole reinforcer, and then a little heart. So I have my back and what will be my front piece. I put double-sided adhesive around it, and then I used my pokey tool to help me get the edge of the adhesive up. And I'm gonna take that off. And then I cut a piece of acetate that will fit over that hole in the tag. And I put that on there. And then for this type of shaker tag, you take foam adhesive and you put it around the edges. And so I have this thin strips of foam adhesive that I'm going to put on here. One of the things that is really important when you're making a shaker die is to make sure that where you have edges on your foam, you make sure that you really get those put together so that nothing comes out wherever those two meet. I've had that happen to me before. Put the whole shaker together, and then when I lifted it up and started shaking it, stuff started falling out. On this tag, it's a really thin strip along this edge. So you need a thin piece of foam. On other shakers that I've made, I've had a larger area to work with, and so then you can use like foam off of a roll or something like that. But for this one, because it has such a narrow edge on it, I chose these thin strips. And there's a spot, I don't think I got that quite close enough. Let's see if I can stick another piece in there just to fill that in. Maybe if I cut this back a little bit. I want to make sure that I don't have the problem of it coming out on me. All the little goodies that I put on the inside. Now you also want to go along and put some foam around the edges so that when you put the back on it, it will hold up. And I am just using some of the little pieces that were left after I cut off for the sides. Now then, I'm going to leave that on there for now, and I'm going to choose the shaker bits that I'm going to put inside. You can do a lot of different things for your bits inside. I have some that I had purchased This is 28 Lilac Lane and Buttons Galore. And the website is www. Just a second, it's on one of these. I know I saw it earlier. This is www.morebuttons.com. But there are all different kinds of mixes you can get. This one is called Blizzard, and it has a lot of snowflakes and a lot of some sequins in there. And it's basically a white mix, but it's really great if you're wanting to do a winter shaker. This just has a lot of different iridescent sequins in it in this color scheme, and this was called Mixed Berry. This one is called My Valentine, and it's got little hearts in there as well as some different colored sequins. This one was called Party Time, and it has some green and some blue and some white, and there are some little stars in there, maybe some other shapes, different sizes of the sequins. I also have received or purchased little kits like this is Sparklets, and it's got different shapes, and then it's different size pieces in it, some little stars. This also came from Buttons Galore and More, and it's a really cute mix. I also have sequins that I just use sequins sometimes, and I've bought a pack that had all different colors in it, and this just is a pale pink. This was a mix I got for a card class I took, and it has some really small little bits in it, but they're really sparkly and they're really pretty. So for this one, because the background is so colorful, I decided I would go with some of the white or iridescent shaker bits. So you just want to put some in the center. The hard part is trying to decide how many to put in. You don't want to put in too many, especially with thin foam like I have on this one, because you don't want, when you put them together, for it to hold the things from moving around. But you also don't want to put too many because you want it to be able to shake when you get done. And so I'm going to attempt to take the backing off of this foam adhesive. And that's always a fun job to keep from spilling your little bits out. But I don't take it off until I'm ready to put the back on, because I have spilt some of my little goodies onto the foam before when I had already taken the backing off, and so then you've got that chore of trying to pick it off of the backing. Oops, and I just bumped it and some went out. That is one of the challenges of a shaker card. That and trying to remember which pieces of the backing you've already taken off. Which ones you still need to take off. Okay, sometimes it's a challenge to catch the edge of that, which is why I use a pokey tool. But sometimes it's a challenge even with the pokey tool. Now I want to give myself a little bit of wiggle room. when I go to put the back on. So I'm going to put a little bit of my art glitter glue on the adhesive, just so that when I go to put the backing on, it gives me a little bit of wiggle room. Otherwise, it's really easy to end up with it crooked because the adhesive will grab onto the back and you might not have it lined up very well, which is really easy to do. So let's see if I can get this on here straight on the camera. Okay, I think that's pretty good considering it's much more difficult to do it filming than it is when I do it in person. Let the little bits shake around, which is the key. I will embellish this later. I see I've got a little bit of foam, I think, sticking up here. So the easy solution to that is just to take my scissors here and cut that off. But I think using the art glitter glue really did help me to have the wiggle room I needed to get that on there pretty square. Now I wanted to show you a second way that I have learned to make shaker cards. And so I used the same die that I used for the top, and I die cut out a sheet of foam. It's double-sided adhesive on it, and so I die cut that out. I did the acetate on there, and then I put this foam in the same shape, which makes it a lot easier. You don't have all the little bits and pieces of foam, and it also gives you a more complete covering in the back when you go to put your backing on. And so I'm going to put a different mix in this one. I think I'm going to combine a couple of them. There's one left from the other one. I'll try to stay in camera. So I think I'm going to put a few of these in there. Ooh, spilled them all over. One of the great things about these different mixes is that you can combine them together and then you get a whole brand new combination. And since this background is a little more subdued than the other background I used, I feel like I can go with some more colors and it won't be fighting the background quite so much. So let's see if I can pick up some of these that I spilled and just add them. There are all kinds of little bits and pieces. Maybe spilling them out here on the table allowed you to see how they're different colors, different shapes, different sizes. But again, one of the challenges of doing shaker cards is keeping it in the spot where you want them while you're putting the card together. I think I might add a couple more little bits into that. So I'm just going to put a few of these. And that'll give us a different mix of colors. Okay, once again, I'm going to take off the backing. It's a lot easier on this one because I got one sheet to work with instead of all those little bits. I am going to use my art glitter glue again to put some glue on here so that I have some wiggle room when I go to put the back on it. I love art glitter glue. I found that I really like using this little bottle for it. It makes it easy. And I don't lose the pen. One of the things with my art glitter glue was I was always searching for the pen on my craft table. And so this just comes with a little plastic part that comes on the top of it. And it makes it really easy to stay with the glue. Okay. Let's see if I can square this up on there and match it up to the foam and to the front. Okay, I think that's pretty good. I'm off just a little bit, so I will take my scissors and I will trim up the edge, and I will embellish them later. But those are two of the ways that I've learned to do shaker cards. Sorry, I shook the whole table. And I really do like using the solid piece of foam to die cut out because it's so much easier to put it together. But the other, if you don't have a solid piece of foam, the other works as well too. It just is a little more tedious, I think, in trying to keep all the little bits in there while you're taking off the backing of the foam. Well, hopefully this has made sense today. If you have any questions, feel free to put them down in the comments and I'll do my best to answer your questions. You'll probably see these show up later in another video after I've embellished them. But the video was mainly about just showing how to put a shaker card together. Thank you for watching.